Good morning, everyone. We are back with our third episode series program for the Back to Nature program with Miss Katy from Leila Arboretum. How are you doing today, Miss Katy?
Oh, I'm doing so well. I'm happy to be outside once again. It's a little bit warmer this week, so it's nice to be out in that sunshine.
Before you get started with all of the fun activities, I want everyone who's watching to know that this is a live broadcast. So if you have any comments or questions that you would like Katie to hear about or to know or answer during the program, I will be in the back monitoring the comments. Please, it helps us understand whether you guys are enjoying the program or not. So, what's our topic today, Miss Katie?
Today, it's perfect for today. We're going to talk about sun and shadows today.
Fun. Well, I
Yeah.
am going to leave and I will hand it over to you.
All right. Thank you. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Kaleidoscope Garden at Lila Arboretum. I'm so happy to be able to join you once again. Today, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be exploring the sun and shadows. So we're very fortunate. The sun actually just popped its head out from behind the clouds today. And we're going to be able to use that sunshine for some of our program here in a little bit. You should have a yellow bag that you picked up from one of the libraries, and that should have today's kit in it. In addition to the weekly activity craft kit, we're going to borrow some other supplies that we might have used last week. You can grab your markers. You can also use crayons if you have some crayons at home, crayons or markers, and later on, I'm going to give you an activity you can do out in your yard when you're playing out in the sun, and you can use that chalk. I'm borrowing the chalk from last week's kit in order to do that. Because every week we've been searching and we've been looking for different things out in the garden. And if you remember back our very first week, we looked at flowers, things that were blooming out in the arboretum, and learned that flowers come in all different shapes and sizes. Last week, we looked at our pollinators, our bees and our butterflies, and how that pollination process works. And this week, we're going to look at something that those flowers need also to grow is that sunlight. Okay. So we have a beautiful sunny morning today. Again, quite a bit warmer than last week. There's a gentle breeze. It feels really nice to be outside today. And what I notice as I'm looking around is that sun popped out from behind the clouds. I'm looking around on the ground and I'm seeing lots and lots of shadows. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how shadows work, okay? What the sun's role, how the sun creates shadows. So we can't all stare at the sun. If you look at the sun, it's very bad for your eyes. So to help us understand today, I have a flashlight. And this flashlight we're going to pretend is our sun, okay? So we've heard at nighttime we don't see our sun, right? The sun does not turn off at night. It's not like a light bulb. I can't flip a switch and turn it on and flip a switch and turn it off, right? The sun is something that is always present in our sky. We just don't see it all the time, okay? At night, we see the moon up in the sky instead, right? But in the morning, what's going to happen is our sun is going to come up. It's going to be out for the day, and then it's going to go down. Okay, so that you might have heard the term sunrise. Okay, that's when the sun is rising up in the sky. Sunset is when it's setting down at bedtime. Okay, so now, the thing though is that when the sun rises and the sun sets, it's not just a straight up and down thing, okay? Instead, what happens is that the earth is actually rotating. So everything on earth is rotating around in a giant circle, twisting and turning. And the sun is staying put as that's rotating around. So what that means is that in the sky, our sun is going to appear to be in different locations. Instead of just being straight up and straight down, our sun okay, turn that back on again, is going to go up, and it's going to be setting in a different area. So instead of going straight up and straight down, it kind of appears to be a big arch over our earth, up in our sky. Okay, now we can use that to help us guess the time of day. Okay, we know that if the sun is low and in the east, it's going to be that's a sign that it's morning. If the sun is high and up in the middle of the sky, it's going to be lunchtime or noon. And then if it's low in the west, setting in the west, it's going to be evening. So we can kind of guess what that is. There are even tools out in the garden that can help you tell the actual time. It works like a watch, okay, called a sundial. That might be a fun thing for you and your grown-ups to look up and see examples of sundials out. Or, of course, you can visit me at the Arboretum. We are open and free to the public, so come out and see us. And we have some human sundials out here where we can use your shadow to tell the time like a watch, like a giant clock. So as the sun, I've got my little, we're going to use a larger critter here. I've got a dinosaur friend with me today. And if our sun is going, we're going to say that it's coming up in the east. Okay, what's going to happen is that as that sun is shining down on a tree, on a house, on a table, on you, on your pet, what's happening is that that object is actually blocking sun rays. Okay, so it's creating the sun is not able to shine through. I can't shine through our dinosaur. Okay. So that's going to block the light, and then it's going to cast a shadow down. So if the sun is coming from this direction, the critter is going to be blocking our shadow. Our statue here is blocking our sun, creating a shadow behind it. Okay. And so as that sun is straight up overhead, it's going to have a shadow directly below it. And then as it comes over from the side, it's going to have a shadow on the opposite side. If you've ever played and done shadow puppets, all you're doing is blocking that light so that it's all you're doing is blocking that light so that it's creating a shadow on your wall. Okay, so the shadow is the light's on one side, something's blocking the light, and the shadow comes on the other side. Now, what's cool is that we can look out in nature and we can see how that shadow is changing over time. Again, as that sun seems to be moving across the sky, as our Earth is turning, and so that sun appears to be in a different location in the sky, we can actually see that the shadows are moving as well. And so a really neat activity you can do on your own, and I've got one set up over here, is you can take, let me get adjusted here, is you can take some different critters and put them down on the sidewalk or something. And you can see that I just traced I used my chalk and I traced the shadow about an hour ago, giving an outline of where that shadow was. Now, if I were to take my chalk and trace it again, I'm gonna set this down. Let's see here. Get up here just a little bit. And we're going to trace it again. I'm going to go around. I'm going to see that my shadow is coming off over this direction. Instead, so it's a little bit different of a shape. It's in a different position as well. You can do that by tracing shadows from the bushes in your yard. You can do shadows from different toys you can lay out and trace those shadows like I did here. You can trace your own shadow and just make sure that you're standing in the same spot every time. One of the tricks I do is if I'm placing something in to trace its shadow, I'm going to actually trace the base of it, its feet, so that if a brother or a sister comes along and moves your toy, or if you go in for lunch and come back, you don't want to stay put that whole hour waiting with your body in that same position as somebody's tracing it later. So what you can do is you trace the feet, you trace the bottom of it so that you can get that item lined up exactly where it once was. And then trace that shadow as the day moves on. You're going to see that that shadow kind of shifts as the sun's position in the sky moves as well. So our craft today, what we're going to be making is we're going to be using a little bit of nature and using a little bit of sun. And we're going to create these really cool sun catchers here. It's a very simple design. And we're going to collect some items in nature to help us build that. And so you can either pause the video right now and run outside and grab a few items, or you can watch Miss Katy do it. I'll show you how, and you can do it later on. But we've got some different tools here. Is first we have a paper plate. I love these plain ones because I can decorate them myself. You can see I added some butterflies and flowers to mine, right? You can just color it in. We're only going to be doing the outside ring of this, okay? You don't have to put any color in the middle, but you can just use those markers that we had and add some. I'm going to put some stars on this one. Let's see here. I'm just using my markers from last week. And I think I'm going to do this one all in stars today, because the sun is really one big star. Did you know that? It's just it's the closest star that we have to the Earth, which is why it appears to be so big. It is not a very big star, and it is not a very bright star. It's just the fact that it's so close to our Earth is why it just seems so bright. Okay. Adding a little bit more color here. Again, you're welcome to use the markers that were in your kit from last week. You can also use crayons to do this. If you're feeling really creative and you have paints at home, you can use paint. Another trick you can do is if you have a plate that's decorated already, like this is a leftover birthday plate that I have, I could actually use this one and kind of skip that decorating process. So just depends on what you want to do. You could do solids, colors, you can do any design you're really thinking of. But just getting some little bit of border on here. Couple more. I think 2 more, and I think I'm ready to go. All right. Okay, so if you need more time to decorate, that's fine. You can pay attention and come back to it. Or of course you can always pause our video. The next trick that we're gonna do is we're gonna be cutting out the very center, okay? So if you just kind of take your paper plate and kind of fold it in half a little bit, pinch it in the center. You don't want to create a crease through the whole thing, but just pinching that center there allows you to do a quick snip in the center. And that's going to let you get in to cut out that middle part. So I go all the way up to, there's a ring in the paper plate. So I'm going to go all the way around to kind of create a frame. Now, this is a great place to have your kids practice using those scissors. It does not have to be absolutely perfect. Everyone's going to look a little bit different, and that's one of the things I love about seeing the end results here. So, again, I am cutting at my speed because I've had lots and lots of practice cutting in my life. But if you kids need a little bit more time, again, you can take a break or watch this and then come back to it. So now I just have this perfect little frame here. And what we're going to do is we are going to take our contact paper. So there's a sheet in our bag. We have a sheet of paper in our bag, and that's the stuff that has this grid on it. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to, I place it right inside there with the grid up because we want to measure how big that circle is. Okay. Let's see here. We're going to do like this. Okay. So I've got that grid up and I've got my frame right around it. All I'm going to do is make a gentle circle on that grid. That's going to show me how big my my frame is. Okay, so I have now a circle on my square, and I'm just going to cut out a little bit larger than that circle is. Give it a little bit of a border. Now, if your square is small enough, you might not need to do that. You might just need to trim some corners off. But having that circle in the center helps to show that I've got a little bit of a border, because my next step is to peel the backing off. So there's 2 sheets of this. It's like a giant sticker. And the part with the grid on it is going to come off, and the other half is like a clear sticker. Woo. All right. There we go. So now I have that clear sticker. I'm going to place that on my plate. So I'm going to kind of line it up a little bit right behind. And then I'm just going to kind of go around and press those edges. Press those edges down. Now I have my frame that has a little bit of a sticky front. So we're going to go around. You can hop outside and collect a few different leaves, and you can do some petals, some sticks. I'm going to take some leaves right from over here, and you can arrange them on your sun catcher by just sticking them right to that sticky contact paper like that. Okay, so you can add a couple different things on there, kind of making a little nature collage. Adding a nature collage. So I've got a couple different leaves I'm going to put on here. I found a little bit of purple flower. Okay, some interesting leaves on there. Just kind of sticking them to the plate, pressing them down, letting them stick, and then you have a little nature collage. Your next step is to take that yarn, and we're just going to thread it right through so you can hang it up in a window. So you can decorate your collage as much as you want to. Whoops, pulled that right through, didn't I? So I've got my string through. I'm just going to kind of tie it in a knot at the end. A grown-up will help you with the knots. And then this is able to hang right up in my window so I can remember my day out in nature and all the sun and shadows that we saw. So that's all we have today. I hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit more about our sun. Again, you can come on out and head outside, make some shadows on the ground using some of your toys and tracing those up, and watching how those shift through the day. So I hope you guys have a great time. We'll be back again next week. We're going to learn a little bit more about weather next week.
Now, Miss Katie, is that our last session next week?
Next week is our last one. Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness. So we hope that everyone tunes in at 11 a.m. next Wednesday so they can catch that last episode. Thank you so much, Miss Katie, for everything. This was so cool watching you make that sun catcher. Everyone have a great day and we will see you next week at Wednesday, 11 a.m. Bye.
Bye.